Eliza Bournay, the Associate Editor of BookPage, and I am at ALA Annual Conference in New Orleans talking to Margi Preus, who's the author of Part of the Samurai. And our holder here, I will just point out, Chad actually designed the jacket and did the design for the book, which is pretty cool that he's right here standing in.
Can we get a close-up on the margins?
We can.
And in fact, I just learned that this font here is actually called Samurai. So that's pretty neat.
People don't think about this, but they should. They should be attending to finer matters.
Well, Margi has gotten just a ton of acclaim for this novel, which was reviewed in BookPage. It was a Newbery Honor book, and this morning, I believe, you accepted the Asian Pacific American Book Award? Tomorrow morning? Okay. Could you tell me a little bit about that award and what honor?
Well, it is an honor and a big surprise, and I hope that they know that I'm not tired. But I'm very honored to get an award like that. It really makes me feel that the book is valid and appreciated by the community. And I had such wonderful experiences in Japan, traveling and meeting so many people and kind of learning about the culture, learning about their history. So it's been a really enriching experience for me.
Well, I know part of the Samurai is based on a true story. There is some facts that you base the story on. Could you tell me a little bit, just tell our readers about the story and also some of the research you did and how you came up with the idea?
Okay. The story is based on the true life adventures of John Manjiro, who began life living in 1840s Japan, which was then living in isolation, which means nobody could go into the country, neither could anyone leave him. He was a fisherman and went out for his first real fishing trip at the age of 14 when a big storm came up and blew him off the coast of Japan. Farther and farther away, they drifted from Japan until finally they were shipwrecked. And eventually, after 5 months of near starvation, were rescued by an American whaling ship. Then his adventures really begin because he makes friends with the captain of the ship, who invites him to go back to America and live with him as his son. So he becomes the first Japanese person to go to America. And in Japan, he actually is known as the man who discovered America. He's also very well known in Japan, kind of a hero, and also the character in an historical drama on television right now. Really? Yeah. So he's a very well-known character there, and I felt that children in the United States would really enjoy hearing about all his adventures and kind of the spirit of his life and his contribution to world-changing events. But you have to read the whole book to find out how that happened.
Well, you mentioned that you traveled to Japan and you were talking to people there. How did you develop your interest in writing about Japan and Japanese characters?
Well, I really got interested in a story. A lot of people do ask me, how did I get interested in Japan? And the real answer is I didn't really get interested in Japan, not right away. I got interested in the story of one person who happened to be Japanese, and I wanted to explore his story. And as I researched and wrote about him, I became more and more interested in the culture, and the country, and the history of Japan. And because of it, I have made a lot of friends both here and in Japan. It's been a great adventure.
Well, I know that recently you published another book, Celebrities, and I wondered also, it's about famous trees.
Famous and historic trees of the world. I'm a tree hugger, what I say. I love trees, and I have long kind of collected in my head stories of all these great trees. The tallest living thing in the world, the biggest living thing in the world, and the oldest living thing in the world, all trees. And so I started with those, and then also many trees that have stories about them, like the tree that Robin Hood and his merry men hid from the sheriff of Nottingham inside of, and it's still there. All the trees in the book are still living, except for one which got cut down after it was already out.
Oh no.
Oops. But they're all there, and most of them you can go see. So I thought it was really fun just to tell their stories. They all have names, and they're all remarkable. So.
Are you working on another project now?
I'm working on another project with Howard, editor on Heart of a Samurai, about, it's maybe tentatively, the title I'm working with right now is The Potato Spy. And it's about a boy during World War II Norway, which was occupied by Nazi Germany from 1940 to 1945. And as a young boy, he became involved in the resistance, and eventually became a spy, and finally had to escape to Sweden on skis.
Wow.
So, I'm hoping it'll be an adventure story.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah.
Since we are at ALA, I was wondering if you had any favorite library or a favorite library memory or favorite librarian that you can tell us about.
Oh, well, I do. I mean, I have not, from my childhood, but it actually was a librarian friend of mine who got me started on the journey to writing Heart of a Samurai, because she and I traveled to Japan, to her sister city, as chaperones for a student delegation. And when we got back from Japan, she put a book in my hands and she said, "Read this." And it was the book Shipwreck by Walker. And that story of that young boy, it's a nonfiction picture book about the life of John Benjiro. That story just stuck with me, and I just felt compelled to explore more, so I started reading more about it, and so on and so forth. So anyway, it was a librarian that got me started. It was librarians that helped me through the whole process because I had to do so much research, and then it was librarians that bestowed this award on me. So I have nothing but praise to say for librarians.
Well, thanks so much for talking to me and sharing your story with BookPage readers. And pick up Heart of a Samurai. Thanks.